let's go back to when you was like your lack of confidence, right? If you had the opportunity to go back to your young self, and then this for all the young people that listen to this podcast, what would you have done better? Like what would you have said to yourself to get you out of that, like not believing in yourself and your ability?
I don't know what I would have said, to be honest. I mean, I think that, like, again, so many factors at play. But I mean, sure. I think the things that I would say is that, like, you know, all the opportunities that come your way are because you deserve them, not because, you know, like, people have felt bad for you. So it's like you are, if anything, it's like you just need to feel like not needing to convince yourself, but like you deserve to be there, right? Like you are as good as the rest of them, if not better. I think it's more just like having that self confidence. And that's like hard to say, right? Like as a 15, 14-year-old that, you know, lives in a $200,000 house when the rest of the people that you play with live in like multi-million-dollar mansions, right? But it isn't like financial, right? But it's all about the skill, and you had it. Yeah.
Okay. You said the college, your college playing, that's another story as it pertains to this. What's the story?
Yeah. So I joined my FCV team because I didn't know if I wanted to play in college. Again, coming from a family that like soccer wasn't a big part of our culture, our family. It was great because it was a great sport for me to be in. You know, it was great that I made friends and stuff, but it wasn't like my parents ate, breathed, loved soccer as much as I did. And so for them, right, like again, a family of immigrants, for them, it's like education, right? Like you need to go to college. And love my dad, as a Black man in America, he always saw sport as like this white man ruling society where, you know, Black people are enslaved. So it's like, I want you to go to school for your brains, not for your athletic prowess, right? Like as a Black body, those are things that we always had to deal with. And for him, you know, I praise him because he really was able to sort of like teach me the rights and the wrongs in racism. A little harsh at times, I will say. But he was just like, I don't want you to go to school. Like, I don't want you to be like, I don't want your only in to go to school is because you're good at a sport. Right? Like he was like, I want you to be able to say that you got in just on your education. So again, you know, rewind back to me having that opportunity to play. I switched the team because I didn't want to not know if I could make it. And I wanted that opportunity, right? Like I didn't want my soccer career to end at high school varsity. And I didn't necessarily know if I wanted my soccer career to end in D1 either, but I wanted the opportunity to say that I could or could not do it. So the recruiting, you know, the recruiting path was so different in, you know, the early 2000s. And, you know, at that point, I think people were committing their junior year to play, like verbal commitments, and then signing their senior year, or it might be verbal commitments their sophomore year and then, you know, signing their junior year. But again, like you had to be super proactive, right? Like you had to reach out. Nobody taught you that you needed to like reach out to schools, right? Like my coach was like, okay, we have these opportunities, we have these college showcases. Coaches are going to reach out to you if you're interested. But it wasn't like, I didn't know that, you know, in this dating game, like I also had to say that I wanted to be there too. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of offers from D1 schools. But again, like for me, it's like I'm still applying to UNC academically. I'm still applying to Wake Forest academically. I didn't want to go to any Virginia schools. Just I don't know why, but I was like, if I'm gonna get a scholarship academically, not because of sports, I want to go out of state. Again, financially, that was a big thing for my parents too, because they had to carry me through a lot of things. They did have like a Virginia 529. So they were like, you can go anywhere academically in Virginia because we've saved for you. And I'm like, I want to play sports. And, you know, if I do want to go academic, blah, 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 whatever. So I wasn't the most proactive. We were looking at different schools. You know, we looked at Boston University. We looked at Stony Brook. We looked at Radford. Thanks for the parties. We and then like I got interest from like I think Florida State at the time, and I was like, I'm not going to Florida, it's so hot. But again, like soccer wasn't my number one priority, but it was also like something I wasn't gonna to close that door on. Fast forward to going to like a JMU. My coach was really good friends with the coaches at JMU, and I went to a camp, and again, like I had already written off the Virginia schools. I was like, I'm not going. Don't want to go. Don't care about Virginia Tech. Don't even care about UVA. Don't care about JMU. I don't want to go. We go to this camp, and then I am apparently like killing it, just like kicking ass and taking names at this camp. And there are girls that had been playing there that have already committed. Like I think this is my like sophomore year at this point of high school. I get a call from my coach at the end of the camp, and he's like, the JMU coach wants you, all the things, cool. So at that point, I started conversations with JMU. I am not so educated on like the recruiting sort of process and offers and verbal commitments and all those things. Didn't really know what the timelines were looking like either. Didn't have like a mentor in terms of like negotiations either, and like all of that. So at this point, like, you know, I looked at Boston University, and they were like, again, everybody knows how expensive the school is. And they're like, we can only give you like 45%. My parents were like, we literally cannot pay for this school. I'm sorry. This is out. Looked at Stony Brook. They were, I think, going to give me a full ride, but I was like, I don't like this school, so not going there. And then here comes JMU. And then, you know, like as a, like, again, this was probably one of the biggest schools that was so interested in me playing. But they're like, unfortunately, we can't give you any money. And I was like, they were like, you would be what you would consider to be like a preferred walk-on. And my parents were like, well, we could pay for this because we've saved up for this for, you know, X amount of years. So here's your 529. So I said yes to JMU. But again, like the whole money thing, like scholarships in schools are just like such a big thing. Like if you don't have money, like you're not considered a priority player. So for me, like you're telling me that I'm this like preferred player, right? Like I'm going to start my freshman year, all those things, but we can't give you any money. I had already committed to you guys because my parents said that they could pay for it. That had already sort of like set me back confidently a little bit. Where like all these girls were having their picture taken on their signing days. I didn't have one of those. You know, they had these articles written about them, like we've signed 11 people, blah, blah, blah. They don't tell you that they only have those articles written if you've literally had a contract because you're getting money, right? So it's like, cool, like I am a walk-on on this team. They don't give a shit about me. But I had a really, really great relationship with my assistant coach. He was the one that was like he was like so supportive, so behind me. He was rallying me, but he wasn't the head coach. I had fought for 4 years for the head coach to like me at JMU. I think even my official visit, he wasn't there to greet me. And it was just like a really rocky process, my like recruitment and like signing. I didn't sign, but like, you know, committing to JMU and things like that. I will say that like even coming in, because my assistant coach was he was like, you are such a phenomenal player, and I'm sorry we don't have the money, but he was like, I will promise you by the end of your 4 years, I will get you a full scholarship. But it was really like me struggling to feel like I belonged there because I was trying to get the head coach's approval. And my sophomore year, you know, I started a lot of games my freshman year as promised. But again, like when I told people that I like had no money coming in, they were like, that's insane. I for sure thought that you had, you know, a scholarship and you had like money coming in. But no, but it was just like a lot. It was like a huge mental thing for me. And being like one of 3 Black people on the team too. Again, JMU, I think, is like 80% white female. So it was like a different environment for me to go into. And then like being an athlete is just like a whole nother thing in college. If you don't have the support system and if you don't have the guidance and like the mentorship, and then if you also don't believe that you're good enough to be there, it's a lot to struggle with. So I spent a lot, and mind you, like I also came from a family of immigrants, so like they're already hard on you to begin with. And my mom being Korean, like that is not, it's a very like, if you didn't get an A, like you are grounded, right? So like if I thought that I was very hard on myself, I'm like, we're all our biggest critics, but in an Asian household, I swear to God, guys, it's real. It's hard.
Try living in the African household is real.
I've heard it. Yeah,
it's real.
Similar.
Yeah. So it was a lot that I dealt with in college. But I will say that I ended up fighting through it. I did have a few injuries that I didn't have the career that I wanted in college by the end when I graduated. But I did get a full scholarship. So nice. I worked my way to that.
Nice. Well done. So what's next? What are you gonna leave on the game or continue to give to the game?
Absolutely. I will say that I'm continuing to play. And the more that like I play, the more that I realize that the more that I play, the more that I watch, you know, the NWSL now, the more that I see more people that look like me playing, which is amazing. But I think like I didn't know if I ever wanted to coach again. I coached when I was in college. I coached post-college a little bit. But I want to continue to share the stories that matter in football. You know, I'm a true believer that, you know, as humans, we resonate so much with just like storytelling and being able to see ourselves in others. And I think that if we're able to have mentors and coaches that are able to guide us in during like our hardships, and a lot of what I would love to do is what I wasn't able to have. Like I wasn't able to receive that when I was a student of the game. So I want to be able to give back in ways, if it's just, you know, playing with, you know, people that look like me around me, like the youth, if it is coaching, if it is being able to like share the story and platforms like this, I'm starting to see that there is such a big need for that moving forward. So I just want to stay involved as much as I can in any capacity that fits, as big or as small as needed. Even if it's like some girl sees this and she's like, oh my God, I just want to hear more about your story, like your hardships and stuff. Amazing. Would love that. And if she's like, actually, I want to play with you, would love that even more. Right. So I'm really just open to all opportunity.
That's gonna happen.
Yes.
That's gonna happen.
You know, as you know, your next home is with DC-11. So that's established. But even outside of that, if people want to, like you just mentioned, if there's a parent or a girl who sees this and want to get in touch with you to, hear more about your story, or, take you one-on-one, because you've been talking a lot about your defensive prowess.
You can't get past me. That's it.
Okay. So we need footage. We need footage to see.
Mike, I thought you had some footage for
I did, but that was different. This is different. She wasn't ready. She wasn't ready. Come into it knowing.
I wasn't ready.
Yeah, she didn't know what was going on when she came into it, but this one she's gonna be ready. But so if someone wants to get in touch, how can they get in touch? What's your social media handles?
Yes. People are going to be like, why is your name Eddie? So that's another story. We can talk about that later. But my handle on Instagram is Eddie Del Bay. Not the most professional, but it's EDDYDELBAE. Sorry, y'all. We'll change it later. It's been like that for a while. But that is my personal Instagram handle. And then the other one is at Elisa M. Davidson, ELISA M. Davidson, DAVIDSON. So I have two handles. Either one works.
So one is one is professional, or your
photography.
Full name. Yeah. So just real quick, what's the story with Eddie Del Bay?
Yeah. Okay. So back to college, there was a girl on my team named Lisa. She was a defender, outside defender. She was a sophomore at the time, and I was coming in as a freshman. My name is Elisa with an E. My coach was like, we're not having this. I'm not going to be calling Lisa and Elisa constantly. And we both played, we both started. We both got a lot of time. So he's a lover of nicknames. He calls them Nickies. Got nicknames for nicknames. So he was like, we're going to take the first letter of your first name, the first letter of your last name. Let's call you Ed. Ever since then, everybody that knows me from JMU and played JMU athletics calls me Eddie. Some people will literally be like, Eddie, what's your last name? And I'm like, there's literally no way that you think that is my name. Some people do. Wow. Well, bless them. But when Instagram was first coming on board, all the cute names and stuff. So it's like a Lana Del Rey kind of like spinoff. And that's where we got that. Okay. Yeah.
I like it. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure. Any last words for us?
No, the pleasure is all mine. I appreciate you guys for inviting me on here to share snippets of my story, and really excited to build.
Nice.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, absolutely. We will be in touch, and this is just the start. So
it absolutely is.
Be sure, if you want to take Alyssa on 1v1, hit her up at Eddie Del Bay on IG. And we need footage. So when you guys are doing that, your 1v1, definitely you know, get somebody to record it so we can see who, if she can stop you or not. You know what I mean? All right, it's been a pleasure,
Amazing.
Alyssa.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.